It's really quick. President Obama meets with Black Lives Matter today. They actually met, past tense. They've already met, and the purpose of the meeting was just to discuss criminal justice reform, discuss the movement at large. The meeting was scheduled for an hour, according to DeRay, McKesson, and President Obama extended it an additional half hour. Quite a few of the new millennial activists showed up to the White House. They were invited, along with some of the older generations of civil rights activists. Not all the names. I don't have all the names of everyone that was there, but according to DeRay McKesson, they had a chance to speak about criminal justice reform. They had a chance to speak about Flint police union contracts, the use of force standards, the school to prison pipeline. And they even talked about this SCOTUS appointment. Now, I do hope that they got a plug in for a they got a plug for a Black woman Supreme Court justice, because we've never had that in all of the existence of the United States. They discussed juvenile solitary confinement. They talked about Laquan McDonald. Now, all the things that they said that they talked about, but no reports in terms of what President Obama actually said in response. So I'm sure that will come out in the next few days, what all President Obama said. But yeah, thanks for that reminder, Grossman. I'll take care of that now. But they asked about Laquan McDonald. And so my question is, did they ask about his support for Rahm Emanuel? Because a large part of the problem in Chicago is that Rahm Emanuel still has significant support from his own people, his Democratic friends, including President Obama. So I hope they had a chance to question President Obama about his support for Laquan McDonald. Support for Rahm Emanuel in the cover-up of the shooting of Laquan McDonald. So let's see how that comes out. It will be very interesting to see what President Obama actually said in response to all of these questions. But more importantly, there was an activist who did not show up. And let me take care of some housekeeping here. Folks, if you're in the chat room, I do advise you, listen, on Twitter, I don't block anybody, right? That's just my credo. But the chat room on YouTube and the chat room in Spreaker, they're not my rooms. That's not my space. That is the listener space. So I would advise you to not come into our chat rooms trolling, because I have just deputized two more moderators to shut it down. Now, if you want some set as moderator, there we go. You can come to Twitter and see me. That's the place you can come see me. But the chat rooms, that's reserved for the listeners. Now, that being said, let's get back to Rahm Emanuel and his support from Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton. That's why he's still in office right now, despite the fact that he has had his hands in the cover-up. And so to that extent, there was a Black Lives Matter activist from Chicago who actually rescinded and turned down the invitation, rather, to see and speak with President Obama. And I had a chance to read her explanation as to why. And it actually struck a nerve with me, because it really speaks to the opportunistic nature of politicians in general, but specifically Democratic politicians when they want to get the Black vote. They're going to meet with you at the most convenient time, right? They're going to sit down and shake your hand. They're going to show up at your church. They're going to play the saxophone. They're going to do all these things that they think you want to see done during election year. And so finally, at the end, like this criminal justice reform and police violence against black young men and young women and older women and just ridiculousness that we've seen over the years has been happening all throughout President Obama's term. So why now, President Obama? Is it just easier because you're going out the door? I'm not going to finish that next sentence. But anyway, so, and I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. If I'm not, please forgive me. Aislinn Pulley, she wrote in truthout.org, she said that the Black struggle is not a soundbite. And she gave the reasons why she refused to meet with President Obama, because when we confront issues of policing and incarceration, we must be very intentional about who is framing such dialogues. And her problem with the entire meeting is that President Obama has this ability, just by virtue of his office, to lend a voice to the problem, but not if he reduces the problem down to a single meeting, and reduces it down to shaking hands, and reduces it down to photo opportunities. Now, we don't know if that's how the outcome really is going to be. Her suspicion is, and this is Aislinn from the Black Lives Matter chapter in Chicago, her suspicion is that's exactly probably what's going to happen. And she has just cause to believe this is what's going to happen, because for years, this is all that has happened. Matter of fact, it's not even good enough to just meet with politicians, or rather, it's bad enough that we meet with politicians and they do nothing. We actually live in an environment, like Noah Chonga said last night on the show, where we have Black politicians in power and they still don't do anything about the problems that are going on right in their district. And so there comes a point when enough's enough, and I'm not really interested in what a politician has to say unless they're putting boots on the ground in our problem. So she went on to say that we have a long road ahead, but the gains we have made have come through laborious organizing and antagonism of the system. And so she feels as though this meeting, in a sense, is a co-opting opportunity by politicians in general, Democrats in specific. And, she didn't say this, but I'm going to insert this into the conversation: Hillary-friendly Democrats. Because right now, like never before, you see a tremendous amount of pandering. Yes, pandering. And I would say it's coming from both sides, but the reality of it is heavy-handedly coming from Hillary Clinton's camp. You have Black leaders, Black artists who have lent their voices to Bernie Sanders, right? They see something in Bernie Sanders they like, and they support Bernie Sanders. Versus just the collection of Black faces that Hillary Clinton is going around the country gathering up. And now all of a sudden, every issue just outside of South Carolina, every issue is a race issue. Every issue, somebody tweeted this, it was so brilliant. And I guess I need to just double back really quickly and give them credit. But it seems like everything that Hillary Clinton now addresses is followed up with how is that going to solve racism? We talk about economics, Hillary Clinton answers, how is that going to solve racism? We could talk about climate change. Hillary Clinton's going to answer, how is that going to solve racism? And this is not my idea. I absolutely, you have to pause. I hate saying something that I didn't come up with and not giving the people credit, but you get the picture. You get what's going on. So right outside of South Carolina, now every single thing is about race for Hillary Clinton, when this has never been the case for Hillary Clinton. And there's not a single person who can tell me otherwise. Hillary Clinton has never been this in love or focused on the Black community. And so now all of a sudden, everything is about race. I'm scrolling vigorously. This is from Craig Baker. Thank you, Craig. Brilliant. He said, I swear every single Clinton position from here on should be followed by, but will that end racism? And so the pandering is ridiculous. And so in the sense, if you cast this, I can't even call it serendipity, right? This too convenient of timing. That's not even proper. This timing is far too convenient. That's what I'm looking for. This timing of this meeting with Black Lives Matter is entirely too convenient for the South Carolina primaries and the friendly nature in which Hillary Clinton now in 2016 wraps herself in President Obama. So Bernie Sanders said, this is a quote from Bernie Sanders. He said, Hillary Clinton is now trying to embrace the president as closely as she possibly can. Everything the president does is wonderful. She loves the president. He loves her and all that stuff. And we know what that's about. That's trying to win support from the African American community, where the president is enormously popular. But you know what? I have enormous respect for the president. He's a friend. We've worked together. I think he has done a great job in many respects. But you know what? Like any other human being, he is wrong on certain issues. Now tell me, at what point do grown people, well, that's not a fair question, because I guess, let me ask it and then you can see why it's not fair. I was going to say, at what point do grown people stop being fooled by someone who is just pandering to you and realize that this person on the other side who is telling you something that you probably don't want to hear and probably don't want to admit, they're the ones telling you the truth, compared to the other one who's telling you exactly what you want to hear and exactly what makes you feel good. They're the one who is not telling you the truth. They're the ones who are pandering to you and just want you for your vote. A person who is willing to say something to you that is not popular but true is risking losing your vote because they told you the inconvenient truth. The inconvenient truth is President Obama has done a great job, but like any other human being, he is wrong on certain issues. That is the absolute truth. Hillary Clinton, on the other hand, is saying, oh no, President Obama has done everything right. President Obama has been phenomenal. President Obama we have to build on, we have to continue President Obama's legacy. We have to protect his legacy. He's done exactly what we needed him to do. At what point do grown people stop falling for someone pandering to them and realize that the person who is not telling you the convenient thing, the person who is telling you the difficult thing, is probably the person that you want, to hear from. Now, we just had Jesse. Oh, here he is.
Hello.